Area 51 is located within close proximity of the proving grounds where hundreds of nuclear bombs were detonated. It seems rather clear that experimental aircraft isn't the only thing being tested here. It's possible the government has a revolutionary type of energy that would allow them to reach far beyond our solar system. If you were to raid Area 51, what kind of technology might be hidden here, and is the government suppressing technology that could progress the human species thousands of years into the future? Could anti-gravitational power have been discovered in Roswell and then tested here? Other theories include weather control and chemtrails. These are all things we're going to take a look at on American Eye. Here is secret technology hidden at Area 51.
Hey guys, how's it going? I'm your host, American Eye, keeping an eye on everything you want to know.
But before we get started, we'd like to give a huge shout out to Skidians, who left us this comment on our Area 51 video 2 years ago. It's almost like you had a time machine and predicted what was going on. If you're still watching, Skidians, let us know in the comment section. You deserve some type of fortune-telling reward. Number 9. Chemtrails. Many people in the US firmly believe that gas emitted by jets and other planes are mixed with toxins or other chemicals through chemtrails. Sometimes you look into the sky and you see a bunch of them. Aviation experts are likely to tell you that that's just what happens when fuel gets released that high up into the atmosphere. But people do have a reason to be concerned with this. It's been proven that Army scientists were releasing top-secret compounds such as cadmium sulfide over the skies of St. Louis. Others believe that experiments haven't stopped, and they're trying to create or already have created chemicals that can provoke weather changes. Some still think that chemicals are playing a role in dumbing down the public. Some people who've gotten close to Area 51 will report seeing very strange chemtrail patterns in the sky and feel like something is being tested out there. Number 8. Element 115. Robert Lazar is often known for bringing some truth to the myths of Area 51, and he might sound a little bit crazy at first, but a new documentary in 2018 might have proven that he wasn't making it all up. In 1989, Bob Lazar revealed during an interview about a top-secret element known as Element 115, which had all kinds of strange properties. You can find on the periodic table of elements listed as ununpentium. It doesn't have an official name exactly, but the word ununpentium was the Greek word for 115, so why not? As the story goes, Bob claims the element was the key ingredient for building flying saucers. Some credibility comes to his story when he led a group of UFO hunters just outside of Area 51 at the time when a UFO was spotted in 1989. He seemed to know the exact time and date when the aircraft would be tested out. He claims that while he was working there, the base possessed about 500 pounds of this mysterious element. The reason he apparently came forward with some confessions about the base is that he believed that the government was trying to kill him for leaving some projects. If he was killed, people would know that the government was trying to keep a big secret. We'll get more into Element 115 later on in the video. Number 7. Laser planes. If the US Air Force came into contact with aliens and are using their technology, it would be very likely that lasers are being used more than we like to think. The Boeing YAL-1 was set up to be equipped with a megawatt chemical oxygen iodine laser attached to the nose, and it started off promising. During a test, the high-powered laser beam successfully intercepted 2 launched missiles at the Edwards Air Force Base in California. Area 51 is technically a part of Edwards Air Force Base, so laser planes seem like something that would be tested out there as well. It was determined that missiles weren't completely destroyed, and lasers 20 to 30 times more powerful were actually needed. This meant that they were going to have to build either 20 to 30 more of these planes to shoot down a nuke, which wasn't a feasible option. Although to the public, it would appear that this project was a failure, but what if they had made changes to it since the last time they tested it 15 years ago? Could they have also developed some kind of laser gun as well? Number 6. Next Generation Stealth Bomber B-21 Raider. Area 51 is well known for being a location where the Air Force tested and developed stealth technology, so it doesn't seem too far-fetched to believe that they would be testing out our next generation stealth bomber, such as the B-21 Raider bomber. It's supposedly stealthier and cheaper than the B-2 stealth bomber. It was also likely tested out at Edwards Air Force Base, but due to security concerns, it was probably tested out at Area 51 as well. The B-21 Raider was developed by Northrop Grumman as a long-range strike bomber. Its primary focus was for it to be capable of long-range missions, and for it to be able to drop a thermonuclear missile if needed. It could also be used to gather special intel, and it's estimated that it would cost about $550 million per unit. This one is a little bit more public than some other ones on this list, but there are many things about this craft that remain highly classified. Number 5. Secret stealth material. Imagine working at Area 51, burning toxic waste, and you have no idea what it is. Later on, you develop some kind of serious health complication, likely caused from inhaling some of the fumes. Some former workers of Area 51 claim that much of this radar-absorbing material is burned at Area 51 and that they've likely developed horrible lung disease. When they attempted to sue the government for this, their case was acquitted on grounds of national security. In fact, the government's argument was that Area 51 didn't exist, so this whole thing never happened. What's also strange about this is that a lot of former articles covering the court case have been removed from news websites, almost as if it never happened. Luckily, we were able to find an article titled Nightmare in Dreamland by the London Observer that gave some details, but it's certainly some secret technology the government doesn't want us to find out about. Could they have exposed people to toxic materials on purpose as some form of human experimentation? Which brings me to my next one. Number 4. Human experiments. The scary part about Area 51 isn't just the aliens, but also because this is a CIA base, and we all know what they're capable of. Some claim that some of the darkest possible projects are taking place at Area 51 underground, where human experimentation and psychological warfare techniques are being tested out. Unethical human experiments have been known to happen at the National Nevada Security Site in the past, with soldiers being exposed to radiation from nuclear weapons. Atmospheric nuclear explosions were also part of what was known as Operation Plum Bomb, where the military would also find out what would happen to people exposed to nuclear fallout. Now that technology has increased and interest in genetics is at an all-time high, would it be too far-fetched to believe that there is some kind of biolab creating human hybrids? Elon Musk recently stated that someday he might be able to bring us real-life anime Catwomen. Human cloning also seems very possible, and they can conduct their research without anyone knowing about it. What kind of hybrid would you create if you had the technology? Let us know in the comments section, and maybe we'll feature you in an upcoming video. Number 3. Flying saucers. Bob Lazar claims that if technology was released from Area 51, it would change the entire economy. We would no longer need cars, no more airplanes, no more fossil fuels, etc. Bob Lazar also claims that he reverse-engineered flying saucers, which use element 115 as fuel. There were 9 different models, and he only got to work on one of them. He describes some as looking sleek and sporty, and others as looking like top hats. There are 2 different levels to these spacecrafts. The bottom level of the craft had gravity amplifiers, and the second level was used to hold the pilot. In a craft that was recovered, the cockpit was much too small and built for gray aliens who only stood 3 to 4 feet tall. The element 115 gets put through a particle accelerator and releases a type of radiation that we haven't seen before. It creates antimatter, which is when exposed to matter, creates 100% energy. The craft can generate its own gravitational field, which means it doesn't have to follow the laws of gravity on Earth. By being able to control gravity, you could essentially distort the distance between 2 objects and make it closer, which will decrease the time. It's a fairly complicated topic, but we recommend you watch this Bob Lazar interview from the 1990s and tell us what you think. Number 2. Time travel. Since time, space, and gravity are all so closely linked together, just being able to control one of these variables can result in a change of the other. If Bob Lazar was correct that we had some kind of control over gravity, we have some kind of control over time too, right? A man named Andrew Basiago claimed that he participated in a project at the young age of 7, all the way until he was 12. He says it was what's known as Project Pegasus, and it was a part of a top-secret government experiment that worked on teleportation and time travel with the help of the company DARPA. He stated that the machine consisted of 2 gray elliptical booms that were about 8 feet tall and 10 feet wide and contained radiant energy between them. His story is rather interesting due to the fact that he mentioned DARPA, which is a company that's been associated with secret technology. Other testimony that links Area 51 to time travel includes the confessional of Robert Miller, who claims to have worked at the secret military base. And before we get to our number 1, we'd like to hear what kind of technology you would take from Area 51. Let us know in the comments section, and maybe we'll feature you in an upcoming video. At number 1, Aurora X. Although the existence of this secret aircraft is still completely theoretical, many people have wondered what continued research on the SR-71 would have led to. The government has consistently denied the existence of this triangular-shaped vehicle that reaches a speed of Mach 5, but would they even tell us if it actually did exist? Theories began to swirl in the 1980s as some researchers felt as though we had capabilities of reaching hypersonic speeds. Many were also curious as more and more money began to pour into black projects. Quite a few people have claimed to make sightings of the aurora and have heard a sonic boom that accompanies it.